very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
Really?
Brexit means Brexit.
Why?
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
China.
What?
China.
What?
China.
We looked at the dining table and saw an opportunity to play with whack.
Strong and stable.
Stood alone last night as
Kipper, you are fake news.
Why?
the reality may be that you don't know what is going on, but people won't be able to tell the difference.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
Why? Just why?
Welcome back to Why Just Why. I hope you've had a brilliant Christmas and New Year. As always, I am joined to my left by Ian Reynolds.
Hello, folks.
To my right by Dave Tinsley.
Hey.
And I am Craig Taylor. So we didn't really have any kind of comments or anything like that on the, I'd say, disappointing election results.
I would have tenner. It's not all bad news, mate.
Well, we are going to be talking about that today. We're going to be covering our opinions on what actually happened in the election, why it's ended up the way it has, and our predictions, I suppose, for what may be coming in the next 5 or so years.
Well, if you judge our predictions, considering like what we've said prior to the election, don't. Our predictions are always shit.
Always opposite what we say.
Always shit. We voted, right, we all thought Plaid Cymru were going to win this thing.
Yeah.
Like landslide. We all thought.
Obviously.
Sure, Plaid Cymru. It just didn't work.
Didn't work, no. I mean,
I'm still in disbelief, you know.
I thought they had it in the bag. Realistically, the electrified rails, that's
They sold it for me.
sold it, yeah.
But everyone else would have been like, tears down their eyes going, we
Gotta use diesel still. I'm sick of killing the planet. Oh, but it's
Plaid Cymru should do an advert where it's, you know, black and white. You got one of those old steam trains coming in, all the smoke bellowing out, and everyone, you know, just for £2 a month. You can help these doughy taffs get to their sheep and
Don't say it.
and shear them before they take them into their pens for the night.
nice save, Ian. Nice save. Well done.
Very long night.
There it is.
I said nothing wrong.
He didn't say anything wrong. There was no implications of anything there.
It's winter and the nights are long.
The nights are long,
And you
especially
have to stay warm.
Especially, yeah, and that's why you shear them, because you need their wool.
Yes.
It's exactly what he's
Oh, I
saying.
was thinking of just shagging them.
Oh, you perverted bastard.
I thought we were on the same level, guys.
You shagged the wall, so you're right to be warm a lot.
Yeah, so before we get on to like all of the election kind of stuff, I mean, well, realistically, how was your Christmas?
Shit.
Just shit. Yeah.
No, it was good. It was good. I had food, got fat, drank ale. Can't complain really.
I got very fat. I've like massively gone fat.
I'm gonna correct that. I never got fat. I got fat terror.
Actually, yeah, I'll second that. I'll second that.
Yeah.
After our Christmas episode where we're doing nothing but talking about Christmas dinners, I was like, I'm having me a big ass Christmas dinner. And probably ended up having about 4.
Did you get everything you wanted on your Christmas dinner as well?
Pretty much, yeah. I even managed to get me chestnut that you ragged the arse out of me for. Luckily as well, because it was the last bag that was in the Asda.
I've had a few.
Because the Asda only bought one bag.
I've had a few complaints over that. Like, you eat chestnuts.
Right, do you know what?
I've had actual text messages.
I'm not having that.
And they should.
Do not knock it until you've tried it.
No.
Roasted chestnuts and sprouts are fit.
I've had who's the bacon boy? Working class my ass.
If you can buy it in the Asda, it's working class. Kiss me ass. It's not like I'm fucking travelling down to London to Fortnum and Masons or something.
No, they delivered it to me.
Not heard of Uber Eats.
I get them to put it on the personal plane. It flies domestic, dear.
It's on its own plane to yours.
Harrods direct.
It's going from Heathrow up to Manchester, where it takes a town car to my door. Don't fucking knock it until you've tried to kiss my ass. It's fit.
Nah.
Kissing your ass is fit.
Well,
Picturing a big pale hairy ass in my face. I've got a bit of a woody. Just to take his gizzards hanging down as well.
Hey.
where the hell did the gizzards come from?
His nutsack just hanging down.
Right.
Big swinging nutsack.
I'm only in my
Chin.
30s. They're not gizzards yet. There's a bit of tightness there, you know what I mean?
There's a bit. That's what I got the tape for, lads.
It's not like some old tin of spam just hanging between your legs.
Mine's not far off.
Where's this conversation gone?
Mine's like an old pair of stocking with 2 peas in it.
Oh, man.
You're gonna find those peas.
Man's like putting a bar of soap in a sock.
Just one bar of soap.
Just one bar of soap. Only got one ball. One big whiskey ball.
One big whiskey square ball. It's like a bar of Dove, just like weird oval shape.
Yeah, he even got the lettering on it. She's straight back.
Imperial leather stamped on his left nut.
I thought you walked a bit lopsided. Always leads to the left.
But you'd always walk away cleaner. Didn't know how to say that.
Right, so yeah, that conversation kind of got away from us a little bit there.
Yeah, just a bit like,
Just a bit like, yeah. So how was your Christmas day?
Just like Dave's slippery ball.
Try and catch it. Try and catch it. Oh, I'm dying. I can't talk.
Right, so how was your Christmas day?
Yeah, mine was fine. Did me same usual. Have a fat, massive scran with everything.
Say what?
That's what I alluded you to, Ian. But no, fat scran.
A fat scran, Ian. Fat scran.
Love to leave Ian on the balance.
Come on, say something dirty.
No man, same as usual. Just seeing all the family. Had a fat scran and got socks and undies. Because all the undies have holes in now because I'm just that
Did your
shit now.
bollock just rips through them?
My bollock just sweats through them. Yeah.
Where the fuck is this
it's true.
conversation going? We're supposed to be talking about the election and Christmas.
One swole by.
You know the way you went to say that? I thought you were going to go, one ball to rule them all.
Yeah.
And in the darkness.
She's like,
My precious.
one hairless ball just about. I don't know how the fuck we ended up here.
Right, so anyway, that was apparently our Christmas because I'm going to fucking cut it short there before we carry on. We are going to start covering the election now and we're going to move on, so we'll make a start. Right, so we're going to chat about the election results and our opinions on them. So, yeah, results were shit.
Yeah.
So, join us next week on White Flag. And then, yeah.
I genuinely believe that was our best episode ever.
I think so. I think so too.
That's a cut. That's a wrap, folks. I'm happy with that.
No, seriously though.
No shit.
I do shit. I'm not going to say I was surprised because I wasn't.
I was a little surprised.
I was a little surprised at the size,
The scale of it.
I was surprised at that. There were a couple of liberal strongholds that I was very shocked fell to the Tories.
Do you know what, right? SNP, yeah, massive raise. I wasn't expecting that much of it. Like, they gained 13 seats. Like,
I was expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that. I had maybe like 5, 6, something like that. But they, like, it literally, if you look at Scotland, it's just yellow.
becoming,
You've got a little blob, one little red placed there, and then like a little bit of one bit of orange or something, like a little bit of blue, but then it's essentially just yellow.
All SNP.
And that was like quite mad to see. I mean, on the night when it was happening,
Did you stay up all night watching it?
Well, I was in work anyway, so
so.
I was keeping track of it. There's things I'm not going to sit there and say I'm a Labour man. Anyone who sits there, which I really disagree with, you sit there and say I am this person, I'm this person, sod off. Because end of the day is you shouldn't just sit there and say I am a Labour man, I am a Conservative man. No, what you should always do is assess who your leader is and what they're going to do for you, what they've done in the past, how they voted. This is all the stuff that you should be looking at, rather than saying, well, my family's always been this, so that's what I am. End of the day,
I'd say that I'm a liberal, and not like a liberal Democrat liberal. I mean a liberal person. I agree with you though. I wouldn't say that I'm bound to one party.
No one really should. But in this election, I found myself wanting Labour purely for the fact of votes were going to take away from them. Because the main competitor for Conservative, my only concern was not to have Boris in. Right?
Yeah.
So if anyone stood a chance to beat Boris, it was always going to be Labour. So it wasn't a case of vote Labour because you want Jeremy. It was a case of vote Labour
because you don't want Boris.
Yeah, because you don't want Boris. And I was hoping but we've already spoke about this, like the fact of like I have no faith in humanity. Even though for some reason this night I just had a little bit of hope. Came back and I was like, please. And then next thing, I see all the constituencies that were coming up first. It was all Labour, and we hadn't lost anything. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, that's it. And we were up, and I'm going, like I say we as if I'm a Labour person, but I'm not. I just, I'm anti.
You're a Labour man.
Yeah, I'm anti-Boris, so for that night I was. You know what I mean?
In this election, you were a Labour man.
Yeah, and I was like, come on. And next thing I just started seeing it, -1. -2, lost another constituency, lost another constituency. And I think Conservatives lost a few, but they lost them to SNP, not to Labour.
Yeah.
And it just kept going and going. Labour lost 59 seats. 59 seats.
Insane.
It's madness.
The left is far too split nowadays. The left cannot get its shit together. Everyone's fighting against themselves. This is the stupid thing. If the SNP, the Lib Dems, the Green Party, Labour, if all of those people sat in a room together, they'd find out they've got a hell of a lot more in common than they've got differences. And it's all these sticking points that each of them have got that are forcing them into different sides. And the infighting is killing the liberal left.
Yeah.
And because of that, we've had the Tories for 9 years of the worst austerity that this country has seen. A Brexit that half of the country doesn't want. And God knows how much damage done to stuff like our public services, our NHS, everything like that. And we've just voted them in for another 5.
Well, the worst part is I spoke to a lot of people about this. I will say 100% of the people I spoke to, and I haven't just spoke to like 5 people, I have spoke to at least about, I would say nearly 100 people, and 100% of them have all gave me the same reason, because they all voted Conservative.
Can I have a guess at what the reason is?
Go on then.
They didn't like Corbyn.
Yeah. But it was a bit more specific than that. They didn't like the fact that Corbyn said we were going to have another referendum. They said he should listen to the people. We have spoke once and we have said we want out. So this is part tickled me.
Yeah.
To sit there and have another referendum down the line is not very democratic.
That is literally...
Who said this?
I shit you not, fucking everyone that I spoke to who voted Conservative.
Wow.
Everyone that I spoke to, and that was their reason. That was always their reason. This was their shout. If Corbyn wants another referendum, here is our referendum right here and now. We're going to vote for the person who's going to give us our Brexit.
Jesus Christ.
And even when I've said to them, well, isn't it democratic to sit there and say, well, you've made your decision, but what we're going to do, we're going to give you a bit more time. We're going to give you a bit more information and let you digest it, stew over it more, and with this new information, new knowledge, we'll ask it again, see if your mind changes. If not,
basically now that you've seen the holy living shit show that this has been for the past 3 years, you sure you still want to do this?
Yeah, you know, I've definitely mentioned it on here before. I think around about 50% of business in this country should be publicly owned, but then you need privately owned as well, because it keeps that competitive side as well, and it obviously stops, you know, dictatorships and stuff like that, things from happening. So you do need that privatisation there. We definitely need a stronger public sector.
Stronger, stable.
Yeah, stronger.
Yeah.
We do need
Not
one.
weak and wobbly.
We need.
Where's your magic money train?
We need them generating revenue, which we just don't do. The beauty of pushing forward the Brexit and coming out, you force us to sit there and say, because obviously, like it's going to happen now, a lot of business starts to kind of be pulled out of Britain and moved into Europe, so they can still move around the market there quite easily.
Don't worry, Donald's got us.
Donald's
got us. As soon as we're out, he's got the best trade deal, the best one that anyone's ever seen, and it definitely not got anything to do with our NHS.
No.
Pinky promise.
Pinky swear.
Pinky swear.
Yeah, I'm dreading that, you know.
But that's the thing. Like, if you would have done that under anyone else, okay, you haven't got 100% certainty that they're going to move in that direction. But someone like Corbyn is a socialist. Corbyn would have turned around and said, we're going to move towards improving the social sector, like the public sector. But all the other parties were saying that. The only person who isn't was Conservatives. So if you go for anyone else but Conservatives, you're giving our country the best possible chance of creating a strong economical future. But what we've done is now we've got out of the EU in a Conservative government
with no public service in a free market economy, where the free market economy is going to tank because there's no free market. They're leaving the free market.
So pull our pants down, bend us over, and Mr. Trump, we await your penis.
Take what you want. Take what you want. You want to raw dog it? Yeah, sound. We can't complain. All the promises, they just basically said, sound, so if you like the last 9 years, then here's more of the same. That was pretty much their manifesto. So less than a week after they got in power, the Conservatives broke one of their promises in the Queen's speech that they made. So you know the manifesto is basically like a list of pledges that they're going to do, and this is what we're going to do to get in power, blah, 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 blah. This is what we're going to do when we're in government. That's not binding. That's not anything like that.
It's just...
Yeah, it's propaganda.
Yeah, posturing, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? We're going to do this and we're going to do that.
We'll do this, we'll do that, blah, 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 blah. So they pledged to hike the minimum wage to £10.50 an hour within 5 years. So basically, within the time that they're in power, people are going to have a minimum wage rise. And fair play to them, they said, next week it's going to rise to £8.57 or something. So it's got to go to £10.50. Now, the first thing that they did in the Queen's speech is backpedal on that by putting in a little caveat, which is little get out clause, which says we're going to rise it to £10.50 an hour within 5 years, provided economic conditions allow.
The little tiny text at the end there.
So that may as well say we're going to rise it to £10.50 within 5 years. Nah. Nah. Within a week. I mean, this. I know you've spoken to a good few people, but I spoke to a few people as well. And the thing that gets me is that they go, "Oh well, I didn't trust Jeremy Corbyn." I was like, "But you trust Boris Johnson?"
Yeah.
It's like.
That's the thing, is it? No one seems
It's
to
like
question.
trusting your cow with McDonald's. I get you don't like Jeremy Corbyn. He is a very polarising figure, and to be fair, he is a bit of a knob. He doesn't play the game properly. He's not a charismatic guy, and he's very much not a token politician. He's a principled person who's a bit of a child at times, and he comes across as it as well.
Yeah.
But Boris Johnson, he's the guy you trust.
One of the things is Corbyn's not really a liar, is he? Corbyn is always like I think Corbyn's a bit honest with everything. Corbyn,
He's a bit too forthcoming.
Yeah, he's probably keep some things to yourself, lad.
Yeah.
He's spilling everything out too fast, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he is the hippie, right? He is a full-blown hippie, and he'll say everything hippie. Problem is, he is too far left. He is like ultra...
It's like to crowds where I can't remember which journalist asked, but it was like, would you press the nuclear button? He's like, no. And it's like
now we are weak. Now any position of strength we have, like if you get in control, Putin will just go, well, I'm gonna take England.
Well, no, but this is the thing though. He said no, and then he clarified it. I wouldn't want to kill millions of people. That, to me, is a reasonable fucking stance to take.
It's an
Whereas-
honest answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Whereas-
someone who knows better than me,
Basically.
can make that decision.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. That's not something that you want to just go, hey, poof. It's not something that you want the person in charge to be like.
Which is baffling me, the whole like your commander-in-chief thing in America.
Oh,
like,
don't.
That really does.
What do you mean?
So basically, whoever's the president is essentially the head of the army as well. And the Air Force and the Navy. He's like the head commander. So that's why he signs off on like airstrikes and all stuff like this when they're doing like something really high security clearance.
It's got to go. Got to go through him then.
So the recent assassination of the Iranian general, that was him. That was him.
He signs off on it.
Trump signed off on that. Trump decided to do it.
Yeah, I know that, but I didn't know it was just down to him. I thought.
Well, it
like,
is down to like his advisors and stuff like that. They will say stuff, but from
Yeah, but Trump has no advice. Trump does what like any other president beforehand has advisors who he listens to and goes, okay, that's good information. Trump goes, I'm gonna do this.
he stands here like half beard, half not beard. He's like, what do you think? And then looks at it and goes, well, I don't know. I think we should do this. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I agree.
But it's not half beard, it's like half orange, not half pale. Mr. Trump? That's President Trump to you, sir.
There's a slight difference in what you're saying in terms of Trump isn't the first president to not have advisors. Trump is the first president who has advisors and fucking ignores them.
That's what we're saying. Like he does in his mind, right? They're there, but in his mind, there's people standing around clapping him.
I think
yes, Mr. President, that's a great idea.
I think what it's like is, do you remember the old Peanuts cartoons? It's like every time someone with more intelligence than Trump walks in the room, all he can hear is wah 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 wah. Well,
I'm the best. I'm the best president there ever was, in the best country that there ever was. This is the greatest country, and I know everything.
We have we have all the money and all the best trade, and all the best trade deals, and all the best technology in China.
No one does being a president better than me.
Well, the thing I mean, there's not a lot of information that's come out of it because everyone's being a bit cagey. But the thing with the general being assassinated as well, I can imagine what happened was there was a bunch of his advisors went in and went, okay, so this general's becoming a problem. We're gonna have to keep an eye on him. Okay, how about we kill him? And they go, well, that might destabilise the entirety of the Middle East. I think we should just kill him. But that might destabilise it. Kill him.
Yeah.
And that's basically what happened. It would not
We
surprise
could
me if
kill him
that's how
in
it
the
went
best
down.
way.
With the best drones,
And the best weapons.
the best strikes,
He
the
probably
best
sees-
drones.
He probably sees everything like a Hollywood film, doesn't he, Trump? You can just imagine it.
I think
he's
just
lived that kind of lifestyle anyway.
He sees everything through a haze of like weird hair products and fake tan and Mackies. That's just his entire life.
I think he just wants to do everything the best. I think he wants to leave this massive legacy. Like he is.
I wanna be the very best,
He
like
achieved-
no one
Yeah,
ever
literally.
was. Dun, dun,
He wakes
dun,
up
dun.
that in the morning. He's got that and Rocky on constantly. Do you know what I mean? I think he's got steps going up to his bed, and he's punching the air as he's going up the steps.
Nah, he's probably got a stair lift.
The best thing.
And every time someone says like you can't do that, sir, dun, dun, there's no easy way out.
That's why he's doing that face. He's doing his
Got a
pout.
montage
Yeah.
playing in his own head.
He's just like the music starts playing in his head. He's just pouting away. Go.
There's no easy way out. So that's a thing anyway with America having the commander-in-chief, whereas
Right.
over here it's a parliamentary government. So even if Boris is in charge, realistically, Boris can't do whatever the fuck he wants. Boris has still got to get the approval of Parliament. Problem is, since Boris basically purged half of the Conservative Party and especially his front bench is made up of quite a lot of Boris's little cronies, so there ain't no way they're going to vote against him. So the government that we currently have is going to do whatever the fuck he says. So
Yeah.
he can literally just, well, he can take a liquid shit over the NHS realistically. That's what I'm expecting.
He He's got it, hasn't he? He's got exactly what he wanted.
Oh, he's got all the power in the world at the minute for him. That this is the highest office he could ever get, and he's got the biggest majority since Thatcher. And the last time that the Conservatives had a majority like this, 90% of the entire country got fucked. It's something that we're still recovering from.
Do you really think that's going to happen again?
I don't know.
To that extent.
I don't know. I think the most hopeful that I am is that Boris's personality is that he's generally just grabbed for power wherever he can get it. Since he's been in public life, you can see that he's just gone for power and power and power and power and gone for the next office, next office, next office. Now, the only reason that he's got such a high majority is that he's managed to turn some of the more liberal northern strongholds against Labour, which for some of them has never happened, ever.
If what everyone I've spoke to is to go by, oh no, I'm still diehard red.
Oh yeah, we just want him for now.
Yeah, this was just...
Like
this
it's
was
that easy.
Yeah,
just
like
to be
it's that easy.
Oh, we'll let him in now, but we'll make sure. It's like...
Yeah, well, people went at the next election was still red.
I think the best case scenario that we can hope for is that because he's turned all of these and he's just power grabbing constantly, is that he knows if he doesn't put forward some policies which will benefit these places, he's out in the next election. So the best thing we can hope for, and this is a really shit thing to say, is that we've got a flip-flopping, power-grabbing, snarky little weasel at the helm of the country who will do whatever keeps him in power, because that will keep him in power.
So he has to...
He'll actually have to listen.
Yeah.
In the by-elections, he could lose seats if he isn't doing something for these people. In by-elections, he'll lose seats, start losing power, and all these seats that he's gained through people making a stand, trying to prove a point to Jeremy, even though you could have voted for another 24 other parties, because even though it's like, you know, like, well, we're gonna show Jeremy by voting for Plaid Cymru, voting for no. The only way possible, Boris, because he's the only other. No, there's not only two parties out there.
Yeah,
Like,
do you think it's a sense of, because Labour and Conservative are the two biggest parties, I don't know, I don't really know the people you spoke to, but maybe they're thinking, well, their reasons being whatever the reasons they are, but maybe they're also thinking, like, if I vote Conservative, knowing that my votes change something, because if I vote one of the others, it's not going to go anywhere.
I think that's one of the main
It's
reasons.
a sense of like,
yeah.
well, I voted. This is what I voted for.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a wasted vote if you vote for a third party.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what a lot of people that you spoke to is kind of like as well.
I mean, it's less true here than it is in a lot of other countries around the world. Like in America, if you vote for a third party, yeah, it's a complete waste of your vote because there basically isn't any third parties over there. I mean, they do exist. You can vote for them, but it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. It's Democrats or
But we're turning to that now, aren't we?
Unfortunately, we're kind of getting there. It seems to be like two-party races. Our electoral system and voting system needs to change.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because let's point out the difference between the millions in votes, because we haven't mentioned that, have we?
So basically, you're looking at Conservative got just under 14 million.
14, yeah.
And Labour got just over 10 million. Percentage wise, you're looking at, I think it was just over 43% for Conservatives the vote, and Labour got just over 32%. So you're looking at like 11% difference. Conservative have gained just over 1% of votes, and Labour's dropped about 8% there. Yeah. So compared to, I mean, compared to last time, you still, if you just balanced out with the same voting system, Conservatives still have a higher percentage of voters going their way.
Yeah.
But then, if you look at the percentage of voters, so what was the percentage? 43% of the vote?
Just over 43% of the vote were Conservative.
Right. So 43% of the vote. 43% of the vote mean they have 100% of the power.
Okay.
Now, how is that a fair voting system? For 43% of the vote, this should have been at the very best a hung parliament.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, because then doesn't that mean the 30% who voted Labour, like their say gets nowhere now?
Their say gets nowhere because he's got such a massive majority. It doesn't matter if Labour vote against every single thing that the Tories vote for. They're still going to push everything through, and it's because of this first past the post system, that with 43% of the vote, it means that Boris Johnson now has a majority of 80 seats, is it?
Well, you beat Labour by 162 seats.
But what's his Commons majority? Because he needs to have over 300.
The majority you need 326. They've actually got 365.
Wow.
Right. So he's got a majority of 40 odd seats. So 40 odd of his own MPs could vote against him and he'd still win.
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen.
That's an amazing position to be in, really.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
he is. He can put through whatever he wants,
And he hasn't
whatever he wants.
Put in perspective, he hasn't even got 50% of the British people's votes. And here's the worst part about that. It's not even the British people, because 67% of the British public who are able to vote, who are registered to vote, so that there's people out there who haven't even registered, right, when they friggin' need to. So these are the people who actually are able to vote. Only 67% actually turned up.
So 67% of the country voted.
Yeah.
So
right.
that 43%.
Are they just unregistered non-voters?
So there's a lot more people who are eligible to vote. So you're eligible to vote if you are over 18 and you're not in certain demographics. So like you've got to be a naturalised or natural born citizen. You can't be in prison. And
So think how much of the prison population then alone?
Yeah, but then that's only the registered ones. So there's lots of people out there who don't even bother to register to vote because they don't see the point in it. Those people aren't getting heard. And then there's 33% of the people who did bother to go out and register to vote never voted for whatever reason. Maybe they couldn't, but then a large proportion of them
That's a game
just
changer,
wouldn't have been
isn't it,
asked.
alone, that many.
That's a third. Like, so you've literally got, say maybe, 80%, 90% of the actual people who are eligible to vote actually bothered to register. And of that 80-90%, 2/3 of that actually got off their arse to vote.
So you're talking about his actual representation. Because this was the same problem again with all the previous votes, because our voting system's fucked. The percentage he got there, so he was talking 43%.
Yeah,
so let's call it 43%. 43% of 67. So
you're looking 2/3 of 43%.
You're looking at just under half of the 60%. So you're talking, again, probably around about 27-ish.
Yeah, about 27%.
So around about 27%
of the British public.
Of the registered British public.
That's not included, because it'll probably drop again. So if you actually said the whole British public who are eligible to vote,
then it would drop again. And then if you talked about the people who are ineligible to vote,
it would drop even more. So really, you're probably talking about maybe 16-17% of the actual British public voted in Conservatives, which allow them to have a majority of 41 seats. How,
such a backwards way of voting, in it.
Well, they talk about it in actual millions of people. How many millions of people did you have?
So registered voters, there are 47,587,254.
So how many actually voted for the Conservatives in millions?
So for Conservatives, just under 14 million.
Just under 14 million. There are 66.48 million people living in the UK. That is just, about a fifth. We'll call that about a fifth. So an even fifth-ish of the public voted for the Conservatives. They now have sway over 66 million people.
Jesus.
That's how fucked our voting system is. It's still not as fucked as some, don't get me wrong. We'll talk about the American college, the electoral college. I mean, I'm glad we've got the one we've got, because that one's even worse. But
I think we threw a lot of numbers of people there, and it's hard enough if we were just sitting there with a board and showing you it.
Oh yeah, we get the PowerPoint out with the laser pointer and everything. It really boils.
I'm sure if I can follow it, the majority of listeners to this can follow the same too. Because I'm understanding this so far.
Now, if you don't understand it, just think to yourself, you're stupider than Dave.
I get this. So 4 apples,
If I get 4 apples and 3 oranges, I get 2 fish.
So when you're following that, like literally, we're talking less than 20%
Yeah.
of the British public voted for them, and now they have
14%.
No, 14 million out of
Sorry,
66 million. So you're talking less than a quarter. I would say probably about a fifth.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, we'll give somewhere in between that. Do you know, like maybe just over 20%.
We'll send all our listeners charts.
Yeah. So we'll go with just over 20% of the British public voted for Conservatives, but we've give them well over 50% control.
They've basically got 100% control.
They have got full control.
Yeah, that's
but
madness,
we've given
isn't
them
it?
well 50% of seats. An extra 40 just sitting there, like Craig said before. 40 people can still go, we disagree with you, and he can still sit there and say, I don't care.
That's his own part. It doesn't matter if every other party goes, you're going to fuck everyone in the world. He goes, no.
Well, I mean, all fair, the only thing we've got to hope on now is the House of Lords, because anything he puts through is still got to be approved by the House of Lords.
Yeah.
So hopefully, maybe the House of Lords just don't like Boris, and then they'll just go, no, Boris, fucking
You've
Boris.
got to be impartial, haven't you?
But then here's the problem as well.
Well,
is
they haven't got to, because they're in. You're a Lord, you just sworn in. There's not like,
They can't get recalled. They can't get pinned out. But then it's hard.
It's a lot harder to do with. It's harder to do with the Lords than it is
with because they can just be recalled and voted. But here's the thing with Boris as well. So he's already fucked off one of his promises straight away to basically bring up the minimum wage. He's also trying to change the judiciary. So do you remember when we were talking about how he was brought up to the Supreme Court and he was found to be unlawfully proroguing Parliament?
Yeah.
He didn't like the little spanking he got from the judge. Poor little lamb. And now I can understand why.
My body hurts.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
They pulled his pants down, they gave him a little bit of a public spanking, and they said, no, that's a naughty Boris. Now go back and open those doors. So he had to.
This is prime rump. You don't spank prime rump.
Now the problem is he didn't like that very much. So now what he's trying to do is he's trying to stymie some of the powers that the judiciary have. So even though we're supposed to have
that one little thing.
Well, I think it's because he realises that the more oversight that he's got, the less he can get away with without a lot of very public fucking around. If he can put something through and then someone challenges him in the courts and wins, he hasn't got carte blanche to do whatever he wants. So he's going to try and fuck up the judiciary a bit so they can't have too much say into what he does. And then I think sometime in this next 5 years, he's going to try and bin off the House of Lords.
Can he do that?
There are ways. People have been trying to do it before. There's a lot of people who don't like the way the House of Lords works.
The thing is, you need something. You need that other.
You need a safety net.
Yeah, you need that safety net there. Problem, worst part is they can do that. The majority of people don't even understand how Parliament works. They don't understand how you have the House of Commons and the House of Lords. They don't understand it's a separate thing. What steps go through.
I still don't fully understand it, to be fair.
We all cover it at some point.
Yeah, I'm not going to say get into it now.
But at some point we will
in
go
a
through
nutshell, it's like a safety net. I don't fully agree with the way the House of Lords is set up in terms of lifetime peerages and people are just given the role.
Yeah.
But once something goes through the Commons, it basically goes through the Lords for a check-up to go, are these fucking around? Is this really going to...
Yeah, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
This is a good thing or a bad thing. Now, a lot of different countries have got that. The easiest thing to compare it to is the Americans with the Senate and Congress.
Oh yeah, okay.
So if you know that, where they've got one house and then they've got the other house, and you're either elected to the Senate or you're elected to Congress. The problem that you have with that is that because they're all elected officials, then at the minute in America, you've got the Republicans controlling one and you've got the Democrats controlling the other, which is why you've got this situation where one side will do something, the other side will go no, and then one side will do something, the other side will go no, and then nothing gets done.
Because you don't actually want... You shouldn't be party members. It should be basically
it shouldn't be partisan at all.
What's that mean?
The House of Commons is partisan at the minute because we've got all the Conservatives who are running everything.
Yeah.
So Labour, Lib Dems, SNP, even though they're there, they'll get their voices heard and they'll debate. They may as well be debating to a brick wall because if the Conservatives don't want to do it, they don't have to. They can just go fuck you and ignore them.
They start to debate it.
They can still debate it. That's part of the thing of letting public debate happen, but Boris doesn't have to do a thing.
I think your good thing to do would actually be turn around and say, everyone just vote for your local constituency. right? Elective, turn around and say, I want this person to represent my constituency. Now, once you've got all your seat members, no party, got all your seat members, then within there, so you got your 650 constituencies, they turn around and say, all right, okay, so for so many terms, we between us are now going to do a general vote for who we reckon would do the job best.
Oh, as Prime Minister?
Yeah, so I think if you've done that, that'll be a lot more fairer. No one's got no allegiances to
No
anyone.
party alliances.
We reckon Billy Bob is going to be good elective for Liverpool. Okay, Billy Bob, you go down to Parliament and you represent. Okay, I'll do my job to represent you to try and get you a good deal. And then when he gets down there, they all have a little vote about like who should be for 4 years, well 5 now, isn't it? Who should be Prime Minister? And I think that's probably one of the fairest ways to do it. You should take the whole party system out.
I think one of the fairest ones is one that I heard on QI, which is basically you just get a letter in the post and it's like jury duty. They basically just turn around and go, right, okay, you're an MP for 4 years now. Enjoy.
Oh God, no. No, God, no.
You have no party allegiances, you have none of this bullshit, and the person who gets picked will have no prior knowledge of anything to do any backroom deals or dirty stuff. You throw them in for a year at a time.
Oh no, I think it really fucks you up because people just don't understand how things work anyway.
This is the point, is that you have a big group of people. It's going to be a hell of a lot better than having the parties that we've got now.
Yeah, I agree with getting rid of the parties, but I kick off enough anyway about people getting promoted into positions that they shouldn't be doing. So then if you're going to sit there and say this is a high management job, you actually need to understand how this all works, how you got to divvy your budget up. Anything below, you need to figure out how to actually make more effective. And then once you've made it effective, make it efficient. This is because this is your job. Well, if you don't understand all that, how the hell are you going to, how are you going to make anything better? I mean, all fairness,
why do you think a journalist is a good Prime Minister? Because that's what he is.
He's fucking shit.
Exactly shit.
Yeah,
why do you think Priti Patel, a bloody tobacco lobbyist, is a good Home Secretary?
Literally, I generally reckon, right? I reckon you should have to go, right? Politics
School.
Yeah, like, literally, like, go listen.
It's called the classics.
But no, not even politics. Management, go learn actual proper management and understand what actual proper management is. And that is literally...
But then, who's to say what is proper political management?
No, fuck that. I am. Do you know what?
Yeah,
Proper management.
Do you know what? No, listen, sod that, right? Because, we live in a society now where management is just purely...
You were your longest.
Yeah.
It's time for you to be promoted.
Well,
It's still also a popularity contest as well.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is. And literally saying in politics, it's all management. Whether you're a supervisor in a shop or literally the Prime Minister, you've got a popularity thing where you've done good, you're friendly with someone, or whatever, or you've worked hard, you made yourself look good in someone's eyes. You might not actually have a fucking clue what you're doing, or nowhere near be the best person for the job, but you've made the right people or the right person like you.
There's two things that get you promoted in today's society anyway.
Blowjobs.
There's three things. There's three things that get you promoted in today's society. Right. No, so there's two things that get you promoted in today's society. One of them is basically what you're saying, which is popularity. So if you know the right people, if you grease the right wheels, you'll get where you want. The other one, and this is the one that annoys me more than anything else, because it shouldn't be a bad thing, but it kind of is merit. So if you're good at your job, you will then get promoted. I've seen this myself in the jobs that I've worked, where people get promoted into management positions and they should not be managers. Now, not that they're bad either. It's not even that they're bad. There was a guy that I knew who worked in a lab, and he got promoted to lab manager. He was a good manager. His staff liked him. The lab worked really well. But he didn't like his job because he got promoted because he was good at his job. He was a good lab worker.
Yeah.
He was good at his analytics. He did all of his notes well. Everything was really good. All of his results were perfect. So he got bumped up. Then he got bumped up again. Then he got bumped up again. And then once you get to a certain point, the only thing that he could do is become a manager. And he's like, he goes in, he puts his lab coat on, and then he goes, no point me having my lab coat on. I just walk around the lab, see if anyone's got any problems, and then go and sit in my office. Boring. I hate it. I want to get back to the lab.
Yeah.
Or what else can I do? Because I'm good at my job. So it means taking a pay cut and going down the rung of the ladder. And that's the way it goes. So he ends up in a job that he hates, that he's technically not qualified to do because he's an academic. He was never a manager, regardless of whether he's good or not.
Well, that's the thing.
It's called the pizza principle.
You don't get trained. You literally get. So, you've just mentioned the kind of day, and everyone's seen it where someone's good at the job, so they get bumped up. but you don't get properly trained. If you get moved from someone who's performing at a specific role, then now you're managing that role. Hang on, have you been taught how to manage? Do you know the first thing about managing? No, but you're good at your role, so you can manage it. Hang on, this person needs to be taught how to manage the concept of managing. It's not a simple thing, it's not an overnight thing. They have to properly understand it. And then what happens is then they have their managers, their bosses coming down, putting pressure on them, saying, "Whoa, you want this, you want these rules." He doesn't know. He hasn't been taught management techniques about how effectiveness and efficiency works.
Yeah.
So then next thing, it puts more stress on him. Now he's either a nice guy who's like, "Oh, please guys, can we do this sort of thing," or that, which he's not really gonna have a go at them, and that stress is gonna turn inwards, or he's an ass or a bastard, and he'll just basically have a go at everyone else, just redirect that stress at the staff members. And they're two really common things you tend to see. You do see it.
In every job you see it, don't you? So.
But this is literally the government. The governments essentially are elected managers. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They're not people who are doing these jobs. So the Home Secretary doesn't go out on the beat with the bobbies and doesn't stand on the passport desk checking passports. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, yeah, all right, they're supposed to do the budget. Realistically, they don't really do the budget. They sign off on the budget, they have some input in the budget, but they're not sitting there with the Excel spreadsheet. That doesn't happen. They just high level,
passing it on to.
They're high level managers.
Everything gets done from the bottom, comes up to them, do an overview, look at it and sign it without actual true understanding of it. And this is always at a higher up you
not
go.
Not in every case. Not in, let's clarify.
Oh,
there are some people who are good at.
Oh, you people are good at the jobs.
Their positions.
Yeah.
They are majorly suited for it. Like the current Chancellor was a banker. Realistically,
he should
know what he's doing.
But then that's going off the concept, which is always funny, that just because someone does a job, they're good at it, is which I always love, because like I hear this all the time. So what? I should trust them? Like, no, just assume that someone's just because they've done a job for a while that they're good at it. No. I'm not going to make that assumption and just like, obviously not to say, assume that they're bad at it. To turn around and say, well, I've done this job. It's like one of those things. I've done this job for 20 years.
You may be doing shit for 20 years. Yeah. Just because you haven't done it shit enough to get sacked doesn't mean you're good at it.
It's funny when you hear that in retail jobs. It's like, you've done that for 20 years.
Why are you still on the bottom rung then?
Yeah.
You just get, you've done that for 20 years?
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've done that for 20 years, yeah.
How have you not thought of... What the fuck?
Yeah. It's like the old Japanese feudal times where someone become the master of something, and it'd be something random like the tea drinking master. They would have learned the art of doing the tea ceremony so perfectly. You get these people who've worked in retail for 25 years like, I am now the master of stacking shelves.
But that does happen.
Only this specific shelf. If you put me on a different section of the supermarket, I'm completely lost. I know where nothing is. These labels are different.
Just corkscrew, just like... I was on the next aisle for 20 years.
I was on aisle 27. Even though I could see 26.
You can see 27.
They've moved 4 feet to the left, and it's like they've just been transported to Narnia. It's like a whole new world.
I know these people.
I've worked with these people. Yeah. I've worked for these people. It's
just because I just think, folks, right? Because the more times I do hear go, and I know people have said this, these just, they're smart people, they're smarter than me, they run the country, they should know what to do and they must know what they're doing. And there's this confidence that just because someone's in a position that they know what they're doing. No.
No. No.
But if everyone had that full frame of question everything and stuff, we probably wouldn't have been in the situation we're in now.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there, really.
I think
it's the problem.
It's the problem with, I think it's apathy more than anything else, which is the problem. I think that's why we're kind of in this position now. I mean, people voted the way they voted, and nothing's going to change that. Realistically, people were swayed, and yeah, it is a popularity contest, but just from the numbers alone, there's a lot of people who never got off their arses to vote, and there's even more of them who never bothered to register in the first place.
Again, we've had that issue.
Forever, and until that changes, we're never going to have a fully representative system. I mean, there are some countries who do force people to go and vote, and I know a lot of people say that's undemocratic, but it may be the best system.
Yeah.
There's so many faults with every system out there.
Nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect. There's always going to be faults with them.
I was going to say another South Park reference. Vote or die.
Or a damn motherfucker.
But it's you know, like I think everyone should vote, because if you don't vote, you haven't got the right to say and complain.
I think people,
You don't
especially people who complain, should vote. I have a lot of people,
Yeah.
even family members, who sit there and moan about the government and then won't get off their ass and go and vote.
Yeah, like it's that baffles me. That's it.
Annoys
you piss,
that
you
really
piss them off,
annoys
you
me.
don't vote, and then here's where I contradict
I had
myself.
an argument with a family member because she was saying that government this, government that, there's cuts in her workplace, and it was affecting her directly. And then she had a pop at me many moons ago now for putting up on my Facebook, oh, don't forget to vote, guys. And I wasn't being really, really pushy about it. It was just me usual, it's voting time, blah. And she had a pop at me going, oh, I'm sick of people posting all over the place saying, oh, go and vote. Stop complaining. Why? You spent like the past however many months on Facebook moaning about the situation you're in. And now you can't be arsed going to vote. Vote. Go vote.
Just utter rage. This is where I'll be hypocritical of myself here, because at the same time when I sit there and go, just vote, get out there and vote, and then when people do go out there and vote and you hear like the logic behind it, the views and stuff like that, I go, you shouldn't be allowed to vote.
See, that's your shit, you, because you're like, go and vote, but inside you're going, go and vote the way I would vote. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I voted for a certain country to have better trains.
Bread of heaven, bread of...
We're gonna start a new Welsh movement.
This is the thing though, is like, whoever's listening to us, I mean, realistically, you can agree with our politics or you can't. I can't imagine you're going to be sitting there listening to us if you don't, to be fair. But I think the problem is...
So we really haven't got anyone from the UK listening to us.
No,
But even we're mixed. Even but I say, like,
we've got different opinions.
We've got different opinions and different views on things, and that's fine, right? As long as you've got some kind of, I mean, some justifiable logic, some justifiable logic to why you're voting something, not just an emotional state saying, I don't like that, I don't like that. Say, well, I voted this because for this reason, right?
I think this
not
is
just,
the point that I was trying to make was, it's okay to have a discussion with people and to have disagreements with people, but I think a lot of what happened in terms of the vote, and especially the splitting of the left vote, because I mean, as we've seen, 43%, realistically, all of the rest of the parties got that share of 57% of the vote. They shouldn't have got a majority. If all of these people would actually talk to each other, I think that would have helped the vote itself.
Yeah.
You never ever change anyone's mind by arguing with them, and that's all that I saw on Twitter, on Facebook, on everything, is that if you're voting Conservative, you're a fucking idiot. If you're voting Labour, you're a fucking idiot. And there's no like, why are you voting that way?
It's arguments. It's not debates anymore. We've said this in a previous episode. It used to be about debating all the time, where people would actually have knowledge about certain policies or whatever, or reasons why they're voting for what they're voting for, and you'd have debates about it. But nowadays, especially with social media as well, I think it's people are more open to be saying like, oh, I don't like this, because they're behind the computer screen as well and saying,
oh yeah,
like
it's so
and
easy.
more people are doing that these days anyway, so that's spread as well, isn't it? Whatever people are saying, your mates or whatever, is getting spread easier now.
Yeah.
So the hate, in a way, not hate, probably not the right word, but
Anger.
the opinions of, anger,
Yeah.
but certain opinions are getting out there to more people now, and people are just going to be like, yeah, I'll vote them because I like what this person says. Not really following the party what is saying, just from someone they know, or something like that, through online alone.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen people get into flame wars online and voting a different way because they didn't like the person who was trying to convince them to vote.
Well, there's
one
that
way.
as well, yeah.
You get like, they get into that argument where they go, why wouldn't you vote Labour? And it's like, because I'm not into Jeremy Corbyn. Like, oh, you're a fucking idiot for not being into Jeremy Corbyn. It's like, well, why not speak to them rather than just calling them a fucking idiot? Because all that you're doing there is validating their opinion that anyone who does vote for him
is an idiot.
If you see that anger and vitriol from one side, you're never going to see anything else. and it just steals you into your opinion.
Oh yeah. If someone's aggressive towards you, get defensive, and next thing just locks you where you are.
Oh, it locks you in.
And it's just idiotic to sit there and be so aggressive. But that's what everything is. Everything's an emotional state now. When people react to stuff, it's not through understanding and making a logical decision. It's some emotional reaction that they have towards that person, or to what someone has previously, like you said, mentioned to them, maybe on a social media, or even just talking or passing on the phone, text messaging, whatever.
Yeah.
People get very opinionated about things from an emotional state rather than actually through logic.
Yeah.
I think so many people will die hard argue over stuff, and then you actually sit them down, sit down and say, well, can you actually stipulate all the facts around that? And they go, well, no, I don't really understand it.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and lie, because I'm a bit like that, to be fair. I don't follow all the policies, and not to the extent of like, oh, I like that, and then I'm just going to vote for them. I'm not saying to do that, but I don't look into, I didn't look into the information as much as I could have. It's only based on probably having a conversation with you, sitting at the table like this. I've learned a lot more about it, but I haven't really gone out to do it, and there's millions like myself who are probably not.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with saying, well, I voted for this, or I believe this, or I think that. And then when someone turns around and goes, well, and just not as a go at you, but talks about it, if you're prepared to sit there and be open to new information and make your decisions from that, your decision might not change. But if you're prepared to sit there, take in new information, then assess it, and then make a decision, you don't have to change the idea, but if you're prepared to open to new information, that's fine.
But I think that is the difference, isn't it? Not a lot of people are like that anymore.
Yeah,
to just listen to other people.
A lot of people like to stay in their bubble.
Yeah.
That now I believe this, and if you tell me I'm wrong, fuck you.
Yeah.
Locked, banned, unfriend, and that's just the way.
Like, Ian, so how come you divorced? The wife chose a different party than I did.
But this is it. It's like, but there's nothing wrong with the way that you did your vote either. I mean, you spoke to people who you trust the opinion of, and you listen to the facts that they put forward. I mean, realistically, I don't know why there's us two knobheads talking about it, but you listen to a source that you trust. You listen to a source that you trust, noob, and then went out and voted. Now, that is a valid thing to do, especially nowadays, because you are bombarded with information. That's exactly why we did our little election kind of rundowns where we were talking about the manifestos and stuff, was because people are just bombarded with all kinds of crap, and we thought it would be funny to take the piss out of it a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas the average person just hasn't got the time, as we've said. They haven't got the time to sit there, read 100-page documents and go through all of this stuff. I think that's the thing, though, in terms of, as we said, your approach was a valid one. As long as you're willing to talk, and as long as you're willing to debate, and you're willing to ask questions. More importantly, it's the asking question thing.
Yeah.
Is that if a party turns around and goes, okay, we're going to pump more money into this city. Why? We're going to spend more money on the rail systems. Why? Where are you getting the money from? What's it going to do for us?
Yeah.
Why do you need to do that? Why do we need HS2? Why do we need to spend 158 billion on it?
It's that annoying thing that kids do, right? But really, you need to do it.
You need to do it.
Why? Do you know, people think, I love seeing it with kids with parents, and kids go, well, why is that? Well, why is that? Well, and the kids and the parents get wound up because obviously they don't really know the answers to all these things. But the kids just, I think
the kids want to learn.
They actually soak up knowledge. And I soak it up.
I think maybe a lot of society lose that. Because maybe when parents don't know and they're going like, I don't know, shut up, leave it, or... Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying being horrible or being a bad parent or nothing like that. But what I'm saying is, obviously it's understandable. A parent doesn't know the answers, doesn't get stressed, tries to fob them off in a different direction. When I was younger, never got fobbed off. I just got blatantly lied to. So I got answers. All my whys I got answered, but all I found out at a later date were all bullshit.
Do you know, my
what a stars, Dad. Well, the little pixies I found here.
Do you know, my mum was actually pretty good with that. Is that, you know, she didn't know something, she'd go, let's go find out, mate.
Let's go.
And then sometimes, because I thought it was like the most amazing thing in the world when I found out I could go to this magical place called the library and just have books, and they were free, and I could read them and then bring them back, and then I could get more. It was amazing. But this was it. It was like, if she didn't know, she'd answer as much as she could, and then I'd be like, why? And she'd be like, I don't know, mate, we'll find out later on. And then usually she would. And it was quite cool. Now and again, she'd fob me off and just like forget or something, but most of the time she'd just like find out. She's why I got into science. When I was a kid, she gave me an anatomy book, and that was like fucking blew my tiny mind. I loved that shit. I think I've still got that. It's somewhere in the loft.
So like just a little mental that you got.
Little memento, yeah, of what got me into science. It's nice little, yeah, nice. Right, so back to this, because we have been chatting at you for a while now, so we'll begin to wrap up. But there was one other thing as well that we want to talk about. Was a couple of the little areas,
little pockets. Basically, a few constituencies went from Labour to Conservative, and a lot obviously went to SNP as well. So there were some counties, even though a lot. I'll say defected over to Conservative or SNP, whether to make a statement or whatever it was. I found it interesting that there were some areas that stayed red, and that was Tyne and Wear, kind of like the Newcastle area. That was the county, and a lot of constituencies around there stayed red, and that was it's a really strong working class area. You've got Merseyside, South Wales. But strange enough, that was only literally the very south of Wales.
It shocked me how much of Wales turned blue.
Yeah.
That one I really wasn't expecting. At the very least, I thought they'd vote Plaid Cymru. I was shocked by that one.
It was like Snowdonia. That one, Plaid Cymru. It was all the farmers. It was all the farmers in the
deprived areas of North Wales, places where people are on the bones of their arse, and
Voting Conservative.
And it's just, I don't want to say to people that they're idiots for doing what they've done, but they've obviously been fed some sort of information that made them think the Tories are going to make my life better.
They don't really care about you. They don't care about you.
I don't understand how they thought it.
Only one person voted.
Yeah. Well, we did say your vote's worth more when you...
I know, yeah.
Exactly. It is, yeah.
But this is the crazy thing, is that of the most deprived areas, there's a few that I really just do not understand fully in my head. It does not compute that these people have seen what the Conservatives have done to them, and yet they voted for them. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's baffling. Greater Manchester. That was a big one. There was chunks of it stayed red, but a lot of it went
some of the suburbs and some of the places outside of Greater Manchester, like Lee.
Yeah.
There's places which are the old former mining towns which got absolutely destroyed by the Conservatives and are still feeling the pinch of Conservative austerity. And on social media, there was ones that I saw where people are going, well, I voted Labour for my local councillor and they're shit. Our local council is shite, so I'm voting for Conservative this time. And it's like, yeah, but do you not realise that the reason that your local council is shite is because Westminster has given them 50p budget for the entire year, and they can't do nothing with it. So it doesn't matter realistically at this point who your local councillor is, because they've got no money. They literally can't fix potholes.
It's not going to change anything anyway.
And even if, one thing I'd say there is, even if you think they're crap, vote someone who isn't considered. There's literally, maybe you don't have the other 25 electives there, because there's 26 in total. So, if you don't include Labour, you don't include Conservative, so you may not have all possible 24 party electives there, but you've at least got 5 or 6. Most places have got 5 or 6 possible choices to choose from. Some areas a lot more. But so that means there's at least 4 other parties you can pick to say, well, do you know what? They're crap. You're going to tank us. I'll pick one of these other 4, give them a shot at, and see how well they can do the job. That's what you could do, but people just went, well, there's only 2, so there's red or there's blue. No. There's more out there.
The 2 want you to think.
Yeah.
That's what the 2 want you to think.
But anyway, so, and then the other one was Greater London, which always kind of tickles me a little, because you've got the working class area of London. Not any middle class areas obviously stay blue. A lot of London is working class, right there, right in the thick of it, because most people who have money or better jobs commute, or they live in the penthouses and stuff.
They either live right in the middle, or they live in the
Mayfair,
an hour away or something.
They live in the really posh areas, or they live in the commuter belt where they can get a nice massive mansion with a garden
just outside the ring road. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You literally, the outside of that ring road was just blue. Right, and you literally can see that. You can see the line. You can see the couple of constituencies inside London that are middle class constituencies, and then you can see that line that clear line when you go to middle class areas. It was it's very definite, and even though money gets pumped into London, it doesn't dramatically actually, it gets pumped into maybe like tourism, policing for certain areas, but it's not actually London, it's the counties that surround Greater London.
The Greater London area.
Yeah, that tend to receive
The biggest.
yeah, they tend to receive the funding.
Southeast mainly gets a lot of
they get the attention, but that's where a lot of politicians live, and you know, it's horrible to say, but it's, you know, it's convenient.
Yeah,
how
they're
these
going to look
areas
after themselves first.
tend to get looked after.
Should have like a chart of like where the money goes out.
And
Probably is somewhere.
Do you know what? I'd be interested to do ourselves, actually sit there and get a little breakdown of where the
Government investment goes.
Well, actually, have a breakdown of yeah, all the seat holders, where they live and how much they receive in comparison to other constituencies. Right.
See,
so also all the Conservatives. So now Conservatives are in power. I'd like to see how much they get in comparison to other constituencies based on the population, and if you do see this dramatic
see if
change,
it's fallen compared to whether they had Conservative or Labour MPs in first. It would be interesting to see that. There's a couple of kind of funny things as well from the election that we'll hit on just before we leave. Is I did think it was quite funny that, you know, the independent group and all of the people who broke away from the Conservatives and the Labour, and then they went to different parties, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna form Change. We're gonna change UK." I don't think a single one of them retained their seat.
They just got laughed at.
They just got laughed at. And you know, one of the ones that I really laughed at, because she was one of our local MPs, Luciana Berger. Yeah, everyone hated her because she was parachuted in by the Labour Party. She wasn't even from a local constituency. She was from down south. She basically just got dumped here because it was a safe Labour seat, and then she left Labour. Bye bye MP, you're no longer one. Bye bye, you thought you could win on your own. Wrong.
Oh, so wrong.
Should have been a better MP. You were crap. And then the best star of the election for me, I'm hoping both of you have seen it because it was just great, was Count Binface.
Oh yeah,
standing for election in the same constituency as Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Did you not see it?
There was oh my god, because there was two. There was
Lord Buckethead and Count Binface.
Is that what the names were?
Yeah.
Because I thought someone was like the extreme overlord of the
That's them, right?
Yeah.
So basically,
I thought it was some mad name like that. It was
they have got a massive extreme overlord, Lord Commander of the Galaxy, blah 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 blah. But it's essentially Lord Buckethead and Count Binface,
right? And he beat, right? But dramatically beat. There was like a fella, and he was just standing independent, right? And I don't know, he was like Jim Bennett or something like that. He got Jim Bennett. Like 12 votes, and he was like, oh, okay, that's 12 votes. And then Supreme Overlord Chancellor, like 2,000 votes, and he was like, he was so wounded.
I would be.
He was like,
I would be.
Big crazy man behind.
Well, this was the thing, right? Is that there was like a feud. There was like a feud between Lord Buckethead and Count Binface because last election when Theresa May stood, Lord Buckethead stood in Theresa May's constituency because they all get a certain amount of time to be able to talk to the crowd, and then when the results are announced, they're on the same podium. So essentially, he stood in that constituency so he could stand behind Theresa May with a massive ass, big friggin' black bucket on his head, looking like a knobhead, going and being a dick. Now, this character, Lord Buckethead, was from some book years ago, some science fiction book, and he used that character. This is a comedian who's, can't remember his name. He stood as Lord Buckethead. Now, he was going to stand again as Lord Buckethead in this election, only the person who owns the rights to the character said no and gave the permission to stand as Lord Buckethead to the Monster Raven Looney Party. So this time, Lord Buckethead wasn't Lord Buckethead.
Oh.
So he went, right, fuck all y'all, I'm making a new character, Count Binface, who looks exactly the same as Lord Buckethead.
Yeah.
And then he went on and then stood as Count Binface instead. And his little election manifesto was amazing. He was saying, I think it's ridiculous that we don't have enough democracy. I think at this point the will of the people has changed. We need to have a referendum on whether or not to have a referendum. And he was just making random shit like that. But then he put forward some actual good policies as well. But then again, he was standing against Boris Johnson. Then Boris Johnson didn't show his face because he's a big wuss and won't bloody actually.
But Boris thing, you see how
he showed for the results thing, but that was about it.
he was so angry standing next to him because they were like this next to him.
He's fuming.
And he was just like, he was looking at them. You see the daggers he was giving them. And then when he won, big smile, and he turned around, he's like looking at them like I'd be so happy he beat them. Fuck no one else on stage. He was just happy he beat them. And I thought, fuck it, how
Of
petty are
course
you,
you're
lad?
gonna beat them, you dick.
It was a joke.
Because
They're
he's
there
so,
to ridicule you.
because he's so embarrassed to look bad in any slight way.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
All he does is look bad.
Well, I know.
And he gets
it
away with it.
yeah. It doesn't even matter anymore, does it?
Yeah, so one of the other big casualties was Jo Swinson, leader of the Lib Dems, who now can't be leader of the Lib Dems because she's not even an MP anymore.
Yeah, that was a big one, really.
Yeah, she lost hers in Bonnie Isle, Scotland, so there was no way she was keeping that, not against the SNP. And then, what was the other one?
That was the deputy leader of the DUP.
Yeah, and he's gone as well, so it was a bit of a crushing night for quite a lot of people. The
night was, it was all over the shop, wasn't it? It was a mad thing to watch for me. I was keeping an eye on it and it was just a bit crazy. But anyway, that said, it's over with. We are where we are. Let the fun begin. And that is it.
Let's wipe away our tears and cry some more in the corner for the next 5 fucking years.
Thanks, folks. But yeah, we are going to call it there. That is us.
Are we going to discuss what we're going to talk about next, or just...
No, fuck them, they don't deserve to know.
still bitter.
Yeah, he's a bit in contempt with all you people who may have voted the way that he didn't want you to vote. But yeah, right. So next week we are going to be doing a couple more little random episodes because over the past couple of weeks we were a bit burnt out on the major stories. So we've got couple of randos for you before we go on to our next deep dive, and we will jump more into that in a week or two. We'll let you know what that is. But for now, thanks a lot for listening again. Thanks for joining us. Still devastated about the election. Still recovering from Christmas and New Year.
Well, we'll see what happens, eh? Try and be a little optimistic.
I don't do optimism.
No.
Oh yeah, I'm talking to the wrong people here, aren't I?
It's like there's this saying where if you're pessimistic, you hurt twice because you're worrying about the hurt, and then you get hurt when it happens. I think it's the other way around because if you're optimistic, it's worse when you think, oh, this might happen, and then it goes, no, it's not. Whereas if you think, oh, it's not going to fucking happen anyway, you're all right, really.
Well, actually, I'm not worried about what's going to go wrong.
Oh, I'm not worried. I'm just kind of like...
I just accept that it's going to go wrong. And when it goes wrong, it's like, it's stupid people. And then if it goes right, you go, what?
I know. If it goes right, then you're like, oh my God, it went right. This is amazing.
Right, much love, folks. Thanks for listening. Give us some feedback if you enjoyed this episode.
Feedback. If you enjoyed this episode, give us comments, give us likes, give us shares, subscribe, spread us around. We are on so many different platforms. You can listen to us anywhere. Ask Alexa, ask Google, ask your watch, ask your mum, ask your sister. Ian has. And yeah, all of the social media links are in the description as always. Twitter, Facebook and our Gmail. Thank you so much for listening.
Post up some good radio porn sites as well.
He might. He might.
Probably will.
Probably will.
Some belters.
Right then, folks. See you next time.
So we'll see you next time.
Alright, folks. Thanks for listening. Much love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.